So, Natalie, first of all, welcome to the Network Breakout podcast. This is a show for founders, operators, and investors who are building in startup ecosystem and especially, in the emerging tech. I think this is going to be an exciting one. I know you definitely have some really great, insights about your new venture with SeekLab. So I would really like to request you to give us a brief introduction about what you do at Seek Labs and maybe a little bit about your journey so far. Would love to hear from you.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Mayur, for inviting me to the network breakout. I'm very happy to be here, very happy to share my thoughts, ideas, and generally very happy to chat, to have a conversation. My name is Natalie. I do business development at SeekLab, where we do SEO, GEO, and social media automation, and from just very recently also hot trend or hot topic sort of automation outsourcing as well. Now, in terms of myself, so we started the project itself in November 2025. So it's been roughly half a year, maybe a bit more. Actually, yeah, a bit more. But either way, yeah, it was. An interesting decision to start the project because while it seems like SEO itself is a bit saturated, a lot of people do it, to be honest. There's a lot of competitors and stuff, but at the same time, the whole industry has changed quite a bit. The search itself has changed quite a bit. So we realized that now it's not just about SEO, it's about other things that come with it, and the AI, the artificial intelligence, that the intelligence that actually changed the whole industry. So that's why how we started the project itself. Decided to also move on because there are so many things that can come with this, that can help teams to sort of remove a lot of manual work from, there's honestly, like, even yourself, yeah, and what you do for the podcast, right? There's so many things that you have to do every single day. You have to be very consistent about, and you don't really, you could do so much more, but because of this manual work, you have to just keep, spending hours and hours and doing something that maybe other tools can help you do, right? So that's kind of how it all came down to creating SeekLab and doing like all these little tools that are not only SEO or GEO, but also, the social media automation stuff and whatsoever. So yeah, and in terms of, my journey, it's pretty straightforward business development, which means obviously, do a lot of outreach, I do a lot of research, I do a lot of sort of communication and coordination between the different teams. So from my team, my developers, as well as, everybody from the outside and stuff, and also just generally chatting like we're doing today. So that's basically what I do. And at the same time, gather up different sources, different information that helps me, actually then feed it back to my team to understand, the different trends and stuff, to understand how we can change the project as well. Because obviously things are moving really, really fast, I think, in all the industries right now. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell about what we do at SeekLab and what I do there.
Awesome. So I think this is definitely really interesting, arena for especially the founders and operators, to tap into, because I think nowadays people, we don't have to go and explain to people what AI is and how they can, how it can help you with your business. But in one of your LinkedIn posts, you mentioned that building a product is only the 10% or 20% of your job, but the rest of the 80% percent is definitely coming from the distribution, right? And since you are a operator yourself and you have been in the industry long enough to understand what the founders might be struggling with, and because it's also part of your job as a business development to seek out those pain points. So I would like to ask you this one question, like in one line, what's the most expensive mistake that the founders are making right now, and how could those things be quickly turned around?
I have two. I would say I
Especially,
have two lines, but the thing is, okay, because one of them is personal, another one is generic. But I'll start with the general. I would
for sure.
start with the general one. Um, it's the fact that a lot of founders, they are still like, they are optimizing. They're still looking for the clicks. How many clicks you get off of a certain content that you post, or generally on your website. But these days, about 48% of all the search queries that you get on Google, they actually, feed you AI overviews first. And AI overviews, like on Google, they don't really, there's no clicks from that, they just feed you the information that you needed and you're like, I'm good. So what they're not realizing, you've got to build brand authority instead of just getting the clicks. At this point in time, it's more about the brand authority that gets from Google overviews rather than the clicks. And obviously the strategy that you do your SEO or GEO, generally your content with, has to be changed or at least adjusted. So I would say this is the general problem that many people have. My personal one is the fact that people want to do AI overviews without doing any SEO. Unfortunately, it doesn't work together, and many people don't understand that. So yeah, there you go. And it can be changed. It's not easy, to be honest, because things like SEO or now as well GEO on top of that, these are not things that can be changed in one day, because things like
Absolutely.
Google, they have algorithms and stuff, they can't, there's so much content right now. It can't be just fixed in one day, right? It's a long-term game, but it really pays off. So, yeah, you just have to basically fix your SEO, first of all, no matter what you want to do. You want to be in AI overviews, great, of course. But if you don't fix your SEO, nothing's going to change. So yeah, if you want me to go into detail, also happy to like start saying how you fix your SEO.
No, definitely. So I think there's a really interesting line that you mentioned, that it's all about discoverability when people actually have thousands of options, especially when they go and search for either a product or a services in very niche vertical. So we spoke about the SEO and GEO. So can you also tell our audience who might not be like too much technical or familiar with those technical things, like what's the essential difference between SEO and the GEO?
Well, the SEO is basically search engine optimization. So that's how well your content is written. So the content on your website is written that it actually ranks on Google, ranks when it appears right on the first page. Let's say you're searching for, I don't know, I have right here a toothpaste, or if you can see, yeah, I have a toothpaste. Yeah, I want to check out whatever toothpaste is best for my teeth, for it's healthy, it's whatever free, that free and stuff like that, right? Like, if I am the one who is selling the toothpaste and I have written my content well in terms of SEO, right, it's going to appear first in the ranking, right? Like, it's going to say right away, this toothpaste is the best. But geo is generative engine optimization. Generative because in AI, the answers are generated. Actually, the best way to call it would be AEO, which is an answerability engine optimization, but that's a different story. But still, they're the same thing. Just
I like
geo sounds cooler, to be honest. So yeah, so geo is more about whether your brand is going to be mentioned in ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, and stuff like that, or just generally in the Google AI overview. And just to make it very clear, they are different, but they are not. Even like very recently, I think it was literally a week ago, Google came out, Google that actually take care of all the Google search, right? They came out and they said that geo is the good old SEO, literally. So, I mean, at the end of the day, geo is more just like doing your SEO with the AI angle, I would call it that way. Just like knowing that there is certain little thing, or not so little, things that you need to adjust in the way you do SEO so that it also works for AI search bots. And that's it.
Absolutely. I think you definitely nailed down the explanation quite easily. So just to double down on that, my follow-up question would be, can you also like give our audience like a maybe a concrete example of maybe a brand getting more or less visibility because of AI search, and how what are the levers they can actually pull in order to turn things around and make it make them visible more into especially the age of AI, right?
hmm then I mean, if you don't mind, I could get like a sample of what we did very recently. And actually, I posted. I'm pretty sure you've seen that on LinkedIn. I posted a case study about that. So it was a Web3 client, and basically, yeah. So when we started working on them, right as we launched SeekLab, at first there were a lot of just citations but not really mentioned. So there's also a big thing, you can be cited but it doesn't mean you're going to be mentioned, which is, you have to build that as well. But basically, an interesting thing that happened one of the articles that we posted at the beginning of May got ranked number one on Google within the first 2 weeks. So it was ranking first, but also on top of that, so in search in certain locations, remember there's also a big difference when it comes to locations, but in certain locations, it was ranking number one on Google, and it was also mentioned in the AI or Google AI overview, which is, I mean, you have the brand name here and then you have the brand name right in the search. I mean, this was like a cool, but then when I started looking at the numbers, so there were like 11,000 impressions, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 weeks, oh my god, right? So there were 11,000 impressions, but only like 13 clicks.
Yeah. Wow, that's a really bad conversion, I would say.
Yeah, so I was like, that's not so cool because there's so many impressions, so I know people have seen that this many, like 11,000 times. Oh my God, but they didn't really click. And
Yeah.
then also we got like 10 backlinks from this, which is great for you generally. Like backlinks are fantastic for your website authority as well and stuff. And then obviously it was like a bittersweet success. You're like, great, but not really great. But then obviously what it means essentially is that, 11,000 people saw the brand that wrote this article. That's the key because it shows the logo, it shows where it comes from and stuff. They got the answer. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's as long as they got the answer, and at the same time, back in their mind, there is your brand that showed right in the very beginning. Meaning, if they ever want to search for a certain or they want to use a certain product like that, they're just going to go to that website because they remember seeing it.
Yeah.
And as a human being, you know that, hey, if like, even though we know AI sometimes makes mistakes, not sometimes, very often, it gets confused, right, and stuff. But as a human being, I still trust AI more than I trust my husband, right? So at the end of the day, I mean, it's just the way our brain works. So these people, like people who saw the impressions where they come from and stuff, they're going to trust the Google's AI overview because they're like, look, if AI passed this, did this check on this certain material, and it checked, it said okay, that means I can trust it too. So it's great for the brand authority. And on top of that, what happened after was actually much better. So this article took like 2 weeks to get ranked number one, but then we posted another article on the 20 something of May, and
Mhm.
it got ranked first literally within 24 hours, and it was in the AI overview. So this proves that also the topical authority has been improved because now Google first, it ranked that one article, it saw
Yeah.
the outreach was great, the algorithm was like, it was reading what was in the content, it saw a lot of impressions, it saw some clicks, not many, but it still saw some clicks, right, and stuff, and it was like, hey, now I can trust this content even more. So the next article got ranked right away, literally. And same, it got, cited by, not just cited, mentioned by Google's AI overview. So basically, now the topical authority has been, it's done. And after this, all the articles that are posted by us for this certain client, they will be, Google will store them and recognize them and trust them much faster. Obviously, if they're written well, because I mean, obviously, if your content is not written well, it eventually the authority will drop. But yeah, so just to explain what exactly we did in terms of like why it got cited. I mean, at least like very important thing. There's no specific playbook that you go by and say like this is gonna work 100% on any AI answers. There's nothing like that because unfortunately it's very new, or not unfortunately, it's very new. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a bit of a wild card, but there are certain little things that you can do that will definitely help you rather than not. So, like one thing, you can just go to one of our blogs over there, like at the top. And yeah, for example, best AI visibility checkers right there. And I will tell you a very interesting thing. This best is a very good strategy for AI search bots or anything where you compare. So any comparison article where you say this is best for this or this is best for that works perfectly for AI because that's where it likes to compare itself. To be honest, whenever you get an AI answer, it likes to compare certain things, right? So that's the same like when it retrieves certain content, it loves seeing things like best for this or best for that. So
Yeah.
Number one, you have to write comparison articles. They really work very, very well. So that's number one thing. And also, very important, that's going to work out for the AI answer because it's looking for a very specific problem, right? So this is number one. You have to write comparison articles. They really work. And this, by the way, those are the articles that got mentioned in AI overviews.
Yeah.
Thing number two is probably statistics. It's very important to give very specific numbers. Yeah, like when you're saying, I don't know, for us, yeah, for the article, the case study that we wrote, yeah, it got 11,000 impressions, it got 13 clicks, it got this and that. It's very important that you mention the numbers. Then another very important thing that I always like to say. So okay, so according to our sort of what's the word, or a philosophy at SeekLab, we say it's like a two gates, two pillars in the whole SEO strategy. First one is the technical SEO, and second one is the obviously the content SEO. And the technical SEO does not mean technical in terms of the code. You know, like if your website has any bugs or anything, it might not have any bugs, but it doesn't mean that your technical SEO is good. Technical SEO is more about the logics and the structure, because if your technical SEO is fixed, only then Google will trust it and index it. Index means like it will actually go through your website,
Right.
store the contents of your website, and then feed it to potential users, like people who are searching for something, right? So
Yeah.
if your technical SEO is not fixed, you can forget about writing any content. You can forget about any AI answers.
So let me stop you right there, just for this question.
Mhm.
So what are usually the type of conversation that whenever a customer comes to you guys, it's like, what are those type of conversations? What are pain points that they, discuss with you specifically? Like, hey, I want more visibility, or is it like, hey, we want more traffic on the website, or hey, we need, more sales from our, product look like, especially for your customers, right?
Mhm. Really, it depends on the customer as well. So, for
Mhm.
example, when it comes to like finance companies, so there are different, because some companies they get their traffic from Google search. Literally, that's when the users they come, they click, they buy, goodbye, right? But there are certain ones that actually get their reputation from their websites, like finance companies. They don't get people just searching for them on the websites. Usually, people already know something about that, but they want to compare. So we had this client for doing M&A, and yeah, they literally came. They've never done any SEO. Their website was in terrible state, to be fair. And they say, look, we just want to be mentioned by AI, and that's it. And I was like, I understand why,
Yeah.
but still have to fix your SEO. And they were like, no,
Right.
but why? Like, we don't want to do it. Let's just do the geo. We just want AI. And I'm like, yes, but no. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is one case, when they don't really need traffic.
Basically you guys have to, like, niche it down to like a very specific problem, right? Or a very specific like user onboarding flow, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not even user onboarding in the way. They just wanted to build reputation online, so that users, when they, let's say, uh, I already know, like, let's say, I already know what M&A companies I would want to, like, I know in Dubai, for example, right? But then I want to compare them, which one is better or which one has had what clients and stuff like that, right? And what do? I just go to ChatGPT and I say, hey, can you give me the list of this and that and stuff like that, right? So
Right.
obviously they want to be mentioned there because this shows that they have good reputation and like that. But then there are e-commerce companies that literally get their traffic and stuff. So yeah, those usually come with with ask for sales for more traffic. But it also depends on the state, like of their website. Like for example, if it's just been started or it's never even been started, you can't really ask for much sales, to be honest. First, you need to build the brand authority and stuff. You need to actually get just some impressions, and after that, you can talk about sales. So usually, sales come with like at least 3 months in. That's when you can start talking about actual conversion. So yeah, because again, SEO is a long-term game, but it
For sure.
really pays off if you do it well.
Yeah, so people who literally want faster results, this thing is not for them, right?
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, unless I mean, even like it doesn't matter how much, because I know there are different SEO companies. They charge different kind of money and stuff. They might have expertise for years and years, but the algorithm changes. So you have to like. You
Yeah.
have to really put your eggs in different baskets, and you have to play the long-term game. Yeah, because also don't forget that Google itself, it doesn't go through your pages that fast. It doesn't go through them in one day. It can
Yeah.
take weeks, literally weeks. And for AI, it's a very actually interesting point. For AI, it indexes or like go through your content within 6 to 8 weeks. And then also like it drops just like so it takes really like 2 months for it to actually go through what you have and decide whether it wants to rank you, right? But also it takes it like less than 3 weeks to forget about you. So that's the problem with AI. Yeah, it takes really long time, but it actually can give up on you really fast if you don't continue.
Absolutely. So, just to break it down from a first principle perspective, so, first of all, like, people have to define goal, like what's their actual goal if they want to optimize for, AI, GEO, and then you set up the workflow. And then, is there also like, a couple of other layers where you like, probably do A/B testing, or, maybe you tweak certain things, and maybe the way they want to position differently, like how does that conversation look like?
So actually, if you don't mind me correcting you a little bit in this sense. So first of all, first thing always is technical SEO. And
Yeah.
then after that, we can decide what we want to do. We want to do AI, or we want to do more just Google
Correct.
ranking. But first, technical SEO. If that's fixed, then we can start working on other things. We can start working on the content, and stuff like that. Now, yeah. I would still say doing your SEO well with
Yeah.
a little bit of an geo angle, with a bit of an AI angle, right? So, for example, when you are writing your blog, which is, by the way, very important. Some people say, for example, you just describe your product in a few blog posts, you write some news, and you think you're done. No, you're not. The more
Exactly.
comparisons you write, the more AI citations you will actually get. So, I would say making sure that your content is written in the way that AI will like it. Yeah, so first of all, you just write a good article that's going to be generally ranked on Google, right?
Yeah.
But then every single sort of section of the article has to start with a very direct answer. So
Yeah.
not just like, oh, starting, you know how at school they used to teach us you have to start with the foreplay, a little bit of like explaining or whatever, how the birds are singing and whatever else and stuff like that. AI does not like it. It wants a direct answer. So what you do, let's say you're starting first section of the article, you right away give a direct answer. For example, if your title is the best toothpaste in I don't know, the best toothpaste for whitening your teeth. Yeah, you literally have to give the answer in the first sentence. You have to say the best toothpaste for whitening your teeth is this, 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 and that, and then you start explaining. That's
Yeah.
how it works. You shouldn't start from little. You should start with the direct answer and then start explaining it. That's what AI likes. So this is number one. Yeah, direct answer. Number two, comparisons. Yeah, best this for that, or best toothpaste in whatever and stuff like that. Comparisons really work. And yeah, giving a lot of statistics, giving a lot of numbers, direct numbers, but obviously making sure that they're all correct and stuff. So yeah, so that definitely helps. And last but not the least, what I mentioned about like how long it takes for AI to actually index what you have written. So we call it citation lag. So the thing is, it takes really long for AI to actually rank what you have written, yeah, and decide whether it wants to mention your brand. But then after a bit of time, like 3 4 weeks, it stops doing that if you're not consistent with your content. And very often people don't realize that, so they think there is a different reason, but actually the reason is because you're not consistent enough, and also you don't reflect on what you have written, what has changed, and you haven't changed what you've written. So it's important, yeah, of course you have to be consistent with your content, but also you have to keep coming back to what you have written and slightly adjust it, change it, depending on what's trending right now. So I would say that would work for AI. And one last thing is FAQs.
Correct.
People very often think that this is just like, you just say, oh, like, what is SeekLab? It's this and that. What does SeekLab do? It does this and that. No, it has to be specifically written in the way that AI likes it. So again, direct answer, And also you have to write the right questions. Very often, like tech teams, they write things like they think it's going to be so useful for the user and stuff like that. Users going to love it. They are, but I mean, it's only if they find your website, then they're gonna go. Very tech related people will understand it. But if you want a user who's never used your product and stuff, they need a very simple answer actually and stuff like that. And it just AI likes very simple yet direct answers for FAQs, and FAQs are important, and everybody should have them. Even if you're selling a toothpaste, you should have that.
Absolutely. So I think some technical founders might find it too much sort of like broader on the like marketing front. So can you also share us a little bit about your actual workflow, like or a tool stack, or that one tactic which is also overhyped and one that is also like underrated. So one thing that you mentioned that like the FAQ sections are really one of the most underrated things, especially with SEO, GEO, and how AI or generative LLMs would find your product or a website. So what's the other thing, like what's overhyped element of the whole thing?
hmm Um, overhyped. I mean, I wouldn't say too overhyped, but it's a little like I think it's given a bit too much attention. Like there's this file that you have to the website. You have to add to the website that helps you index it. It's called llms dot txt.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, it sounds a bit too technical and stuff, but basically, if you add this to your website, then Google finds it easier to find your website. That's it. Index it and go through it and go through the content. And actually, even the Google team itself came out and said that they don't really use it. Again, this is not 100% that you don't need it or anything. It's always better to have it than not. But I think people are giving it a bit too much attention compared to what it should actually be, because many people think that technical SEO is just fixing the bugs. It's not. Sometimes it's your title is too long or too short, because it has to be specific. Or, for example, something like, I don't know, your images are missing the alt description and stuff like that. That's also technical SEO. But many people don't realize that. So, yeah, and something that I've noticed, especially in the tech teams, because what they're not realizing is, first of all, they think, oh, because we write code, our technical SEO, technical stuff on the website is going to be amazing. Like we don't have any problems. Apparently, though, that's not that kind of technical, and
Right.
also very often they have other problems there, and the fact that they think as long as we write and explain to the users that we already have, it's all going to
Yeah.
be fine. Yeah, but you also need to find other users and stuff. You want to be ranking on Google. So I would say these are the underrated things.
Correct.
And the thing that I mentioned in the very beginning, just the fact that many people are still going for the clicks. I think the clicks
Yeah.
are a bit overrated at this point. But again, it makes it difficult for the smaller brands to, so everything comes with a bit of
Exactly.
a problem. Yeah.
For sure. So this is exactly like one of the questions that I wanted to ask, but you clearly explained that very well. So one thing which is also something very common to see, not just crypto space, but also in like tech in general, right? That whenever people specifically wants to do like product launches, then the first thing that they optimize for is the virality, right? So can you explain a little bit like how does this maybe work hand in hand, or like is it something which is totally different from SEO and GEO, and what are some good practice for especially bootstrap founders who wants to like get there fast, or get there more optimized.
So let's say if you want to do, as a tech founder, I would say they probably would go with the website either way, right? So definitely first you can do an audit, just a website audit, just to
Right.
understand what is good and what is not good. Yeah, and it helps you understand what is happening with your technical SEO. Yeah, because something at least in the Web3, what's happening is very often the websites are written with like a very heavy JavaScript code, and unfortunately Google does not index that, and that is a big problem. So that has to be like, usually they end up having more issues than just like a normal e-commerce website. So those are the first thing. And to be honest, an audit can be done freely on a lot of websites. We do it at SeekLab. You can just get it free. You can input your website and get like a whole thorough, list of suggestions, problems, what's doing well, what's not doing well. And to be honest, there's a lot of tools that do like free website auditing. It just depends on how profound you want it to be or how thorough you want it to be. And again, you can just do it with the ChatGPT and ask it, and it will give you a list of the best website auditing tools. There has to be product pages and stuff. It's very important to do things that give you some more authority on a bit of a different level, that give authority to your website itself. Something like where your company is based at, or maybe some just company legal information. You don't have to give it all, but a little bit, where it's based and stuff actually is a very good plus, and Google loves it, to be honest. FAQs, as I said, you cannot go without those. If you don't know how to write them, you can ask ChatGPT to write them for you. And then obviously you have to download Google Search Console and make sure that everything is indexed well, what is not indexed, and stuff like that. What Google sees, what Google doesn't see. I think would be a good time to start on a thing like blog. So I think everybody should have a blog, no matter what. That's where you start doing the comparisons and stuff like that. You compare your own product with another product. You can compare other products that are adjacent to what you do. Yeah, for example, it's an AI product. You can just go compare Claude and ChatGPT. It's fine, you know but it's as long as you have it, there's a higher chance that when a user is searching for something, they will see your brand. And it's not a bad thing, even if it doesn't really mention you much, or you are not exactly doing what ChatGPT does. But if you manage to actually get mentioned and on AI Google overviews, oh my God, Google AI overviews, sorry. I mean, it's fantastic, right? So yeah. And then after that, it's important to start building topic clusters. So it's like basically when one topic derives from another topic. Let's say you said best, I don't know, best AI search bots. Yeah, you compare Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini. And after that, you can write, hey, best vibe coding agents or whatever else, So just like making sure you develop this topic that is related to AI search bots and something like that, right? And stuff. So that would be good. And in this time, you have to make sure to still reflect on what's been done. Make sure you are always up to date with the Google algorithms, which are changing very often, and adjusting things that need adjustment. Sometimes pages stop being indexed for whatever reason, so you have to go and fix it up. So consistency is key when it comes to these things. And something that I've learned the hard way is different social platforms.
I
So you
do.
have to have those. You have to have those first of all because it gives more authority to your website, because you just can list your website on different tools like, I don't know, Pure List on Reddit, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and all that. And LinkedIn gets cited on AI overviews so often, so
Yeah.
often. It's crazy. So it's important, but also it's important because you can keep your eggs in different baskets, as I mentioned before, because why I learned it the hard way. First of all, some of my accounts that I had on Reddit, on Purelist and stuff, got suspended permanently because I don't know why. I mean, something little thing I broke, and unfortunately, that's it. Month of work can
Exactly.
just go into nothing.
Sure.
So it's important to keep that. I think like Reddit appears like what, number two, always on when you search something on Google, it appears like on
Yeah.
second spot or something, or third, right? Like Google and AI itself, they really trust Reddit. But also Reddit is getting really saturated because everybody wants to be on Reddit because they want their like Reddit to mention their website and stuff like that, or their product.
One thing that I wanted to ask you that what are the top three social media platforms except Reddit that every founders or teams or startups should optimize and start posting there frequently? And what are those effects, especially with the SEO and visibility?
LinkedIn. 100% LinkedIn. And I'll tell you why. I even like I can spill a little bit of how do you, it's not spill the tea, but I would give you a little insight that I personally do. So obviously I have to post on LinkedIn very often, and you can post posts. You can post from your company. You can post from personal. You can post from different from writing an article. Yeah, LinkedIn is fantastic. It takes a bit longer to get found by Google, but once it does, it's actually very good. And something that I was doing, to be honest, when I was searching for something on Google and I saw that a certain LinkedIn post would get mentioned, I would just go feed it to Claude or ChatGPT and ask why it worked.
Yeah.
To be honest, because I wanted to know what specific thing worked there, because this is something that I can use for my own, to be honest. And this
Yeah.
is something that I can also use for our own workflows. Because obviously at SeekLab, we use like a mix of AI and human work all together, right? That where we make sure, that certain workflows, they're definitely better with AI, to be honest. But also depends on what you do. But I would say Instagram is not so bad. And I would say Instagram and Facebook go hand in hand. But one thing none of them covers is the Chinese social media. So there
Yeah.
are two things: WeChat and Little Red Note. A Little Red Note, what's cool about it is like not so long ago, it launched their own like a marketplace. Because I mean, Chinese marketplaces are notorious. They can eat you alive, to be honest, because there's the competition is crazy, right? And there's so many products and stuff, yeah. But Little Red Note is still young for this, but it has like 500 million people that follow it, So basically, you just don't read like if you use just the traditional sort of social media automation tools, you don't really reach out to that audience. And also, let's be honest, Chinese audience, there's a different way of writing things for it. There's a different way of writing the posts and stuff, and very often they have to be in Chinese and stuff. Yeah,
Exactly.
so I would say Little Red Note is actually very good. Like even if you don't know how to do it, I mean, if you don't want to use like social automation for that, at least you can ask Claude, hey, how do I do this? But I think Little Red Note is actually very good. Maybe WeChat not so much for, let's say, if you have an e-commerce brand. A Little Red Note, yeah, I would say so. It got very popular when TikTok got banned or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think it's one of the most underrated things for this. Yet, it's one of the best social media that you can do, especially that the coverage is massive.
Okay. So I think maybe you probably forgot X, or does is it like X is not really important for the GEO and SEO, because people use Grok often, and Grok really does a good job, especially with the discoverability, with the fact checks, and probably like visibility, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I forgot about X. Yeah, but you know why? Because I was, for whatever reason, I was thinking in my head it was more about e-commerce. Yeah, as an e-commerce brand, I think X is not like that. Wow, but
Uh,
for us as an SEO company agency, yes, Twitter makes a lot of sense. And to be honest, we use our own social media automation tool for X. So we just literally like what I only need to do. I just need to like open it, see if everything looks good, and just quickly sort of publish it. And also another cool thing that it does is, obviously, like let's say if I published an article on our blog, then I can also like it automatically creates like a little post about what this article is about, and I can just publish it on X as well, which is good. So in our case, for tech companies, for I don't know newsletter and stuff, it's perfect. But I think for many e-commerce projects, it's not. Yeah, so it depends on what exactly you do. To be honest, yeah,
maybe.
probably for e-commerce, I think LinkedIn is also good, but Facebook is good, Instagram is good, but then X is not exactly, in my opinion. But I'm not sure. Maybe for somebody it works really well.
Absolutely. I think there's so many interesting things that you mentioned, but because we are speaking about AI and the discoverability. So one thing that I also wanted to ask you, like as your whole team, so like how much of the workflows have you guys already started using with AI, or where maybe previously some things were like required manual input, and those things now have been automated using AI workflows. So how's that looking like for you as a company?
Mhm. Yeah, so auditing. definitely AI. It really helps. It just as long as you write the correct workflow and the prompts and stuff. But auditing is definitely much better, especially when it comes to technical SEO. Come on, it can detect things much better compared to a human being, and it's going to take forever, to be honest, to do something like that. So with AI, auditing is perfect. Then it's very good for writing. A specific what's the word? Framework for various content. When you know that for this specific article I need this kind of framework, like let's say if it's a case study, it's one framework. It's going to help me write it in the right way so that I know how to start and stuff like that. And also something that people don't realize, unfortunately, there's so much content right now that let's say structure wins over creativity. I mean, you can write the best content in the world, the most creative, the brightest, and it will
Yeah,
never be found by Google just because your title is wrong, or your title is too long, or your one title, the H1, is different from H2, or you have two H1. It's unfortunately it's the way it
yeah,
works. It's just the times change, yeah. So AI helps you really with the right structure, the framework and the structure of all the content that you have. AI can really help with that. The humans are best when it comes to like just final stages, I would say. Yes, for example, making sure the content, there are no mistakes and stuff, making sure analysis as well, because AI makes mistakes. So you have to, I think it's important that the content and the topic for the content is chosen manually by a human being. Like, for example, for me, I always go through every single title and the topic that I write about, make sure that it is trending, that it
yeah,
makes sense, that it's not gonna overlap and stuff like that. While, for example, AI can help me avoid cannibalization. So, cannibalization is basically when, let's say, you have two articles on your blog that are way too similar to each other. They touch upon way too many topics. So, basically, Google is gonna be like, what is going on here, right?
yeah.
So this is something that AI can help you make sure that whether it's too close or not too close, yeah. But the final stages are always like have to be approved by a human being. Same comes with the social media, the final post have to be approved because sometimes there are flaws, yeah. So yeah, I would say it's oof, probably 50% AI, 50% human being at the end of the day. So yeah, and like right keyword strategy you have to do by yourself. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Natalie, I think we did quite a good job, explaining to our audience how they should optimize for, SEO versus GEO, when they should be like, seeking help, and what are, different practical insights that they can gear up for. So I think we are also close to our, closing time. But I also would like to request you to, maybe give us like one more last practical insights. So what are the top three exercises that you would request founders to like start acting early upon? Like what are those practical tools, or maybe like exercises that you think everyone should do, especially if they want to make their visibility much more stronger?
That's a good one. Okay, first one is consistency. That's something I struggle with myself. So yeah, that's why that's why it's always number one. Consistency is key. As I said, creative content might not even be found. Make sure you're consistent with everything. Um, Number two, make sure to be present on various platforms. Never ever focus on only one thing. So as you said, there are social platforms, there's the website and stuff. Do everything everywhere all at once, just like the movie. But yeah, like it's better that way rather than just only having one platform. You can never rely on one thing ever, just like it works in life. And the third thing, I would say, not like if you see that this something is not working out for a long time, probably it's best to give up on that, or at least change the strategy, because sometimes probably it's not exactly the SEO or the geo or whatever problem. Sometimes maybe just the wrong product. It happens, unfortunately. So yeah, I would say also making sure about that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I guess this is a nutshell. Though I would prefer, of course, to say 1,000 words and then never stop. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I think this has been really insightful, discussion, and thank you so much, Natalie, for coming to our podcast. And these are the practical insights that we strive to achieve, and thanks to operators and leaders like you, that we can be able to make this possible. But once again, thank you so much, Natalie, for this amazing discussion, and for our audience who's listening or watching to this episode anywhere. I'll be sure to put all of the links about Seek Labs in our description. So feel free to reach out to Natalie if you are looking for an assistant, or maybe just like a discovery session with how to optimize for more visibility, especially in the age of AI. And yeah, so I'm your host, Mayur, and I think this has been wonderful episode. Thank you so much, Natalie, once again, and we'll see all of you in the next network breakout. But until then, keep building.
Thank you, Mayur. Thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. It was incredible. I love the conversation.
Absolutely, likewise.